Well, that's a good question. Well, the reason, obviously, if you're...
I'd like to call the meeting to order, and I'd like to announce that I'm going to retain my vote for this meeting. Begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Clerk will call the roll.
Councillor Olson.
Here.
Bridge. Here. Councillor Bender is excused. Mertzik. Here. McDonald. Hendry.
Here.
Finsland.
Here.
Herrick.
Here.
McKenzie.
Here.
Dahlbeck. Here. Nowicki. Here. And Sather.
Here.
We have no proclamation or commendations, so we'll ask for approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councillor Dahlbeck and second by Councillor Herrick. All in favor? Aye. Next thing is a public hearing. Resolution introduced by the Planning Department to amend the 2010 Community Development Block Grant CDBG Action Plan. Is there anyone here to speak in favor or against? Anyone here in favor or against? Speak in favor or against? And for the third time, anyone here to speak in favor or in opposition? Be hearing none, we'll ask for approval.
I'm just going to read it one more time.
Okay.
5.1 is a resolution introduced by the Planning Department to amend the 2010 Community Development Block Grant Application Plan.
Motion by Councillor Bridge and second by Councillor McKenzie. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Any opposition? Motion passes. Secondly, we have a public hearing.
Item 2 are public hearings to consider non-renewal of alcohol applicants listed in Part 2 of the alcohol report. They have all been cleared up except for H, Thirsties, Inc., and J, Todd McKay, Groceries. So if you would approve all of those that don't require a public hearing first, then we'll have the public hearing for the other two.
Motion by Councillor Dahlbeck, second by Councillor Herrick. Any further questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That part is passed. And then we'll talk about Thirsties.
Item H is Thirsties, Inc., doing business as Thirsties at 601 Tower Avenue. At this time, they're not in code compliance. They have delinquent sewer and stormwater and personal property taxes.
Do we have a recommendation from the city attorney?
Well, I certainly would recommend that a motion to non-renew the license would be appropriate under the circumstances.
Councillor Bridge.
We have to go through the public hearing process on these, or?
This is the public hearing.
Okay.
Andy Sari is aware that there is a public hearing being held tonight. He did come in to clear up the other two establishments this morning, and he is aware that this one was not paid, and it was possible to have the license non-renewed.
I just asked because usually there's a call for people to speak for or against.
Oh, sorry.
Oh. Well, you can ask for that. Is that the proper? Okay, then is there anyone here to speak in favor or in opposition to the denial of this license? Councilor McKenzie.
I just have a question, Terry. How much time do they have a time frame to pay sewer, stormwater, property taxes?
These are the ones that are on the tax bill. Okay, he paid the personal property, but the sewer and stormwater, I believe, are the ones that have already been placed on his tax bill. So that would mean they were delinquent from last year. And you know, they have a deadline, and actually, because they know the process, they know that up until 4:30 today, if it's not paid, it's going to public hearing.
So he'd have to pay all of his property taxes for 2009? Or
No, he doesn't need to pay his property taxes.
Just that portion?
Just
that portion.
Just the assessment. Mm-hmm.
And how much time does he have?
4:30. He's out of time.
He's out of time now. Okay. Thanks.
Was Is there anyone else that wishes to speak in favor or against this motion? Is there anyone else to speak in favor or in opposition? And a motion to deny the license? Or to-
Well, I think it's more appropriately couched as non-renewal. The
Okay,
license
motion
has
to
been
read.
granted, but now it's being non-renewed.
Motion to non-renew this license would be in order? Motion by Councilor Bridge and second by Councilor Henry. Any further questions or comments? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? No. Motion passes. And we'll deal with Todd McKay.
Item J is Todd McKay, Les's Grocery at 2920 North 21st Street. He has a beer license. There was a mix-up on his part. He did come in and he paid the current delinquent stormwater and sewer with the city. What he actually needed to pay was the assessment over to the county clerk's office, and we notified him, and he will be in on Thursday to clear that up. And it is such a small amount, I would not have an issue if the council just approved that contingent upon him making that payment by Thursday.
Is there a motion to approve that contingent upon his payment by Thursday? Motion by Councilor Dahlbeck, second by Councilor McKenzie. Any further comments or questions? Not all, yes, Mr. Rose.
Should this have been a open public hearing as well?
We're having an open public hearing now, was my understanding.
So then it should be advertised 3 times?
I asked if someone cared to speak 3 times.
On the first one.
Well, okay, same thing. Pardon me for not doing proper procedure. Anyone who wishes to speak in favor or against? Anyone who wishes to speak in favor or in opposition? Anyone else who wishes to speak in favor or opposition? Public hearing will then be closed. The motion is from Councilor Bridge and second by Councilor Henry. Right? No, this was by Dahlbeck and McKenzie. I'm getting the 2 motions confused here. All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposition? Haven't heard anything. Those are passed.
Item 6 is the consent agenda.
Okay. Is there anyone who wishes to pull any items from the consent agenda? Yes, Councilor Olson.
Item 614, Part 6.
Okay. Item 614, Part 6. The motion has been to approve the consent agenda. We'll pull items 614-6 and we'll approve the rest of the consent agenda. The motion is by Councilor Herrick, second by Councilor Dahlbeck. Approve the consent agenda. I thought those with the 1614-6. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next we'll
Item 614.6 is the Public Works Committee, May 18th, recommendation to receive and file concerns regarding train horns.
We have one person signed up to speak to that issue in addition, so Councilor Olson first.
Okay, in reading this, the footnote of it is that it was held in committee from 9/16/09 concerning the train horns. And Mr. Getzman have met with some people here, and there could be funding available to help with this train horn situation, whether it's gates and flashers and stuff like that. And maybe Frog could help me with this, but I would like to refer this back to committee, seeing that there was a motion to receive and file it, but then a semicolon saying that there'll be a proposal when presented when available. So if we could bring it back to committee, keep it in committee, like we have with some of the other ones, like the traffic calming policy, just that we hold it in committee and until Mr. Getzman comes back with some further study. I think to receive and file it is going to put it away, and then it won't be able to come back for discussion under that heading.
Councilor Dahlbeck?
I think it was my understanding that we would just wait till we heard from the railroad company, right now, what they're telling us is they're doing everything they can to keep them quiet, but there are certain rules and regulations they have to follow. And Jeff said we are going to get somebody to come in and talk on it, and it is not buried. It's going to be one of the issues we're going to keep going because they are a nuisance. And we've been working on it for so many years that we haven't gained any place with it because they're doing what they have to do. They were ordered to make the train whistle 30 seconds longer. They have to up the decibel of the horn, and they're doing what they're supposed to do. So we're waiting on somebody to come and enlighten us. No amount of money is going to make the railroad change their mind about how long they're going to blow and how hard.
Well, if I might offer a suggestion, I think a motion to refer it back to the committee and to postpone the matter until such time as the Public Works Department receives further studies or notices about this issue from the relevant parties. I think that would certainly go far in demonstrating that this governing body intends to reacquaint itself with the issues as they develop. If more study grants should become available, or gating grants, or whatever that looks like.
Councilor Bridge?
Well, I mean, I'd like to see the state committee as well. This particular part here doesn't really relate to any specific location, which is fine with me, but we've got a spot in East End where I don't think that there's ever going to be a crosswalk or a light, and closing those crossings is the only option there is, in my mind, to eliminate the horns in those areas. And people are up in arms and have been for years in East End over these train horns. I mean, they're really close to these houses, and that one echoes off that overpass on East 2nd Street, and it's just horrendous on East 3rd Street there.
Councilor Mertzig?
Can somebody explain to me why we would receive and file concerns regarding train horns? I guess I don't understand why, because to me that means we're just putting it to rest. It's going away. Who made this decision and why? I guess I don't understand. If there's more things, I understand that. If there's more things happening and it's possible that we're going to get money to help with the arms and the bells, what was the... I guess I'd like to know a little more about what went on with this decision-making process.
It wasn't to receive and file. It was to put it back. All right, receive and file until we came up with something more tangible. And if you're talking about putting crossing arms down and gated crossings, it doesn't work. I live on A Street corridor. I have more closed crossings than anybody in the city of Superior, and they do not stop blowing their horn, irregardless of how much we complain. They keep on going and going and going. They're like the Energized Bunny. There's no stopping them. So it wasn't intended to receive and file forever. It was just till we got somebody to come in and enlighten us as what we can do to get the railroad to change their mind about how long they were going to make that whistle blow and for how loud the decibel was going to be.
Councilor McKenzie?
Yeah, I think in light of what Frog has said, and then to answer you too, Greg, it was in committee for a long time, and to receive and file, again, not to go away, because Jeff Getzman said that he would be talking with a lot of different people and try to come up with some kind of a solution. And so, no, this still is a big concern, and I see no reason why it can't go back to committee. And to be there, to hold it in committee, and when Jeff comes up with the big answer to solve all this noise, well, then we'll go for it. So I would second the motion for it to go back to committee.
Okay, with the idea that we would have further information before we bring it up again. We'll refer it back until pending further
Right.
information.
Isn't that what you want, John?
Is that what you wish for, Mr. Olson?
Yeah, I guess my motion would be to refer back to the Public Works Committee until further information is available to the council.
And that's the intent of your second, Mr. McKenzie. We do have a member of the public that wishes to speak to this, so since the motion made and seconded, it's probably the appropriate time for you to speak. Mr. Curtis?
Marty Curtis, 5301 East First Street. And I know the Public Works Committee has done a lot of work on this so far, and, I realize it's a long, ongoing process, and I would like to thank Councilor McKenzie for all his efforts in communication with me and stuff. That's been great. And what I came tonight was asking is to ask Mr. Getzman if he'd kind of give an overview for some of the, we've got a couple of members in the audience from that area, and there's more watching on television, and they really haven't heard anything for several months. So I was hoping you could kind of give an overview. And the email you sent me was a real good explanation. But I did have one question. I didn't know what an OCR was. I assume it's something with Commissioner of the Railroad. And I did have one other question with listening. Does the city have the capability to test the decibel levels out in that area of the train horns or not? Perhaps as part of the study that you're planning on doing, perhaps they could do something along that way to see if the trains are at the level they're supposed to be. I'm hoping that you'll spend a couple of minutes and just kind of go over similar to what you did in the email you sent to me for members of the public. Thanks.
Would you like to do that now, or should we?
Certainly can, yeah, basically what I sent to Mr. Curtis was kind of an update of where we were at. The city staff has met with the FRA, the Federal Rail Administration, as well as the DOT's representative on the railroad issues. And their recommendation generally was to try to take a look at our entire system, all the crossings we have, and there may be some opportunities to work with railroad funding and make closures. They will help sponsor some of that work or make improvements there to try to make them quiet. But it's a fairly large undertaking. We haven't had basically the time to dedicate to that in the last several months with all the other projects going on. And the committee did essentially allow me to go out and look and try to find our former railroad consultant to come in and maybe have them finish up that study for us and take a look at what might be a potential closing. And any process we go through, any closing that would happen is essentially governed by the OCR, the Rail Commission for the state, and would have a formal hearing before anything would be closed. And I would see our process basically being one of recommending some potential closures or improvements, and then having some public hearings locally to make sure there's buy-in for that, and then we would request a hearing with the OCR following that process. So that's primarily where we're at.
Anything further from any of the councilors? If not, we'll call the question. You put your light on, I'll call on you.
I just would like to say that railroad crossings do not seem to have an effect on whether they blow their horns or not, because A Street Corridor is one of the most closed streets there is, and they blow just as loud, just as hard, they're just as disturbing to my constituents as anybody else in the city. And if the railroad says that they're going to make close crossings and that's going to eliminate the problem, I find that very hard to believe.
Anything further? If not, all in favor of the motion to refer? And anyone opposed? Okay, that is passed. Carried.
Okay. Item 7.1, Fire Chief Rickstead is submitting a bid award for installing a vehicle exhaust extraction system to Hastings Air Energy Control in the amount of $82,121.
Motion by Councilor Dalbeck, second by Councilor Herrick, I believe. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Next motion.
Item 8.1, Mayor Ross is reappointing Mary Roebuck to the Civil Service Commission, Gene Rosberg to the Park and Recreation Commission, and James Peterson to the Plan Commission, and appointing Ed Anderson to the Metropolitan Interstate Council.
Motion by Councilor Dalbeck, second by Councilor Henry. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Item 10.1 is a resolution of the City of Superior, Wisconsin, establishing post-issuance debt compliance policy governing Build America bonds.
Motion by Counselor Bridge, second by Counselor Dahlbeck. Anything further? Jean, do you have something you wish to tell us about that?
Not unless there's questions. I can certainly speak to the issue. It's a policy related to, I'll be quick, it's a policy related to the debt issue that we've just gone through for the landfill. We haven't previously issued what are called Build America bonds, and so when we do this, the federal government gets more involved with the 35% rebate that we get. The IRS gets more involved, and we just need to make sure we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
11.1 is an ordinance introduced by the Public Works Department amending the traffic code by removing a disabled do not block sidewalk sign at 1304 North 11th Street.
Motion by Counselor Dahlbeck, second by Counselor McKenzie. Anything further? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
11.2 is an ordinance introduced by the Public Works Department amending the traffic code by adding disabled parking signage at 1304 North 11th Street.
Motion by Counselor Dahlbeck, second by Counselor Henry. Anything further? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
11.3 is an ordinance introduced by the Public Works Committee amending the traffic code, no night parking on Iowa Avenue, both sides from North 18th to 20th Streets by adding April 1st through October 31st only.
Motion by Counselor McKenzie, second by Counselor Dahlbeck. Any further questions or comments? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion passes.
11.4 is an ordinance introduced by the Public Works Department amending the traffic code, stop signs by, are we adding or deleting? Oh, deleting four-way stops at Hammond Avenue and North 28th Street, and deleting one- and two-way stops at Hammond Avenue and North 34th Street.
Motion by Counselor Henry, second by Counselor Olson. Any questions or comments? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Any business by the public? If not, motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn by Counselor McDonald, was it?